Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another StarCraft 2 1 vs 1 replay casted by myself. My name is Axel, and I'm super excited to bring you another game in between EGStrifeCro and EGDeMusliM. Of course, EGDeMusliM is the blue Terran player on the bottom side of this Metalopolis map, and super far long positions away is our Red Zerg player EGStrifeCro. And you may have noticed I said another game between these two, which means there have been previous games, and there have been two previous games. So if you have not seen those, please go watch those right now. There is a link at the bottom of the screen leading you there. Just click on that and get out of here. So this is game 3, guys. This is it. This is a best of 3. The loser of this series, again, this is from MLG Columbus 2011, the loser of this series goes to the losers bracket. Not fun at all. And the winner of this series, the winner of this game, I should say, because this is the last game of the series no matter what, the winner of this game goes on to round 3 of the winners bracket. Of course, MLG trolling us all, actually trolling the EG team by putting them against each other so early on in the tournament, but not really. I'm just kidding. I mean, it's all fun and games for these guys unless you get matched against each other. So yeah, these players probably not too happy about it, but it's not too bad seeing a friendly face across from you in the beginning of a tournament. So I'm sure both of these players are very serious about this game and definitely are going to be going for each other's throats, pulling out all the stops. Neither of them want to go to that losers bracket, because if you go to the losers bracket this early in the tournament, oh my gosh, it is incredibly hard to get anywhere. I think you have to win like, oh, what is the stats? Someone researched that. It's like 30 straight matches or something crazy like that. So you definitely don't want to be knocked to the losers bracket this early in MLG Columbus 2011. But anyway, let's talk about what these players are doing. It looks like DeMusliM is putting down a barracks and an assimilator. Pretty standard play, getting that orbital command, similar to last game. So on the other side of the map, we do have EGStrifeCro putting down a 15 hatch once again. So once again, using similar strategies throughout all of these games. And why not? I mean, every single time his position has been a decent amount of distance away from his opponent. So definitely feeling safe about putting down that 15 hatchery. So once again, super excited to see what these two players do. And I just can't emphasize it enough how important this game is to each of them. So definitely a lot of passion and a lot of energy and a lot of APM being thrown into this game. Let's go ahead and look at that APM tab. We have 240 coming down from DeMusliM, so definitely having his fingers dance all over that keyboard, and pretty high from his opponent StrifeCro as well. And looks like we do have a reactor coming down from EGDeMusliM. And let's go ahead and talk about the first two games so we can kind of gauge what these two players are thinking coming into this one. In the first game, we saw StrifeCro do some sort of 2-base all-in timing push, exploding into DeMusliM's natural with a bunch of roaches and zerglings, and definitely did enough damage there to put himself ahead and at an insurmountable place from his opponent so that he could just do a push later on. And well, DeMusliM just was forced to GG because he was so far behind. But then in game 2, we saw DeMusliM do a similar thing that StrifeCro did, except a little bit early. He got some Hellions out, some Marines, exploited that terrain, lifted up those units to the high ground, dodging those spine crawlers, and did so much damage, killing so many Marines, so many Zerglings, I should say, and quite a few drones. And once again, StrifeCro was put so far behind, kind of a similar situation to the first game by EGDeMusliM. He was put so far behind, he was eventually forced to GG after a death push came from EGDeMusliM. So it all comes down to this game. I'm sure we'll see something very crafty from both of these players. Super excited. Anyway, we have a lot of Marines coming down from EGDeMusliM, and it looks like he's doing a similar tactic to last game. This is actually the exact same build for the time being. We have a factory going down along with that reactor. So the exact same build from game 2 along with that starport. So maybe he'll try to do the same thing where he lifts up the Marines up here and then lifts up the Hellions right after. So have to keep an eye on that. And on the other side of the map, StrifeCro putting down a Roach Warren. So he's actually doing what he did in game 1. So both of these players resorting to what strategy won them their respective games in this series. So this should be interesting to see how these two strategies clash. And honestly, Roaches are pretty darn good against Hellions. So we'll have to see how this formulates, and we'll have to see if these Hellions end up doing any damage with the harassment. So DeMusliM and StrifeCro looks like they're getting up their economies thus far. Not too much happening in the game so far. Not any aggression, but as I say that, DeMusliM looking to poke forward with his Hellions. I wonder if he'll adventure to the natural of StrifeCro, or if he's just looking to take these watchtowers. And look at this, StrifeCro taking a pretty fast third. So definitely feeling comfortable with these roaches for the time being. And a scan going down from EGDeMusliM. Let's see exactly what he saw so we know what's running through his mind. He did see the roach warren, 1 gas, and a spawning pool along with an evo chamber. So not seeing this gas being put down actually tells him a lot. It tells him that his opponent, and also he didn't see an early layer, so it tells him that his opponent is not taking super fast, and he probably has, and he got a good look at the drone saturation as well, so he probably has a good idea that the third is in fact down. And deMusliM looks like he wants to push here, microing away 1 Hellion. Pretty good micro from EGDeMusliM, making sure that Hellion does not die to that roach and does fry that roach alive. But EGStrifeCro has plenty of roaches to deal with this Hellion harass. But it looks like, oh my gosh, deMusliM doing the same strategy he did as last time. We'll see how it works out for him. The Marines are being dropped on the high ground, and now here come the Hellions. But the difference here is StrifeCro has the roaches out, which are really good against both Marines and Hellions. Of course, the Marauder is the natural counter to those roaches, but here we go. Looks like we will have an engagement here. Looks like the Hellions will hit straight toward that natural, or that mineral line, to try to do as much damage as possible, but getting stalled in the smoke by these Zerglings. These Zerglings are trying to get us surrounded, and actually a pretty effective surround by the roaches and the Zerglings, doing a lot of damage, and he could lose this medevac for free. He has to be really careful. The medevac is being targeted down to 6 HP. That medevac is dropping every single one of those Marines, and he has to be super careful not to let that medevac die. Oh, that was a tense situation there. Down to 6 HP. It looks like StrifeCro wants to do a counter attack here to try to do some damage, or maybe just wants to take the watchtower. We have to keep an eye on that as this medevac flees home. So deMusliM not getting the same results as last game. Concerning the amount of harassment, definitely not doing as much damage as he would have liked. So I would say StrifeCro takes the early lead here, considering he has his third up and running and getting close to very nicely saturated there. So all of his bases look to be like approaching full saturation. So macroing like a king is our Zerg player StrifeCro, and deMusliM honestly finds himself behind early on in this game at the 10-minute mark. We're almost there, and the natural is being put down. Oh, we have 2 Banshees out along with Cloak being researched in deMusliM's base, so looking to do some cloaked Banshee harassment, and these roaches will be fleeing for their lives. I think deMusliM may get a couple free kills. In fact, StrifeCro perhaps overextending himself, does lose a roach, but deMusliM deciding not to pursue his friend and enemy, EGStrifeCro. Back in StrifeCro's base, we do have a Baneling nest going down, so definitely leaning towards that that Mutoscaling Baneling play that he was never really able to get around to in either of the first 2 games. So deMusliM is coming forward with these 2 Banshees, but spoiler alert, looks like StrifeCro put down plenty of spore crawlers, I should say, so he will definitely be able to deal with this harassment very easily. I would say these 2 Banshees won't do much damage unless he scans and tries to kill a creep tumor, which I wouldn't mind. I mean, why not? Always a good idea to kill off those creep tumors. You do not want your Zerg opponent to get too much mobility. Back in deMusliM's base, we do have a factory being placed on that reactor, along with siege mode on this being researched on the tech lab of this tank. So looking to get tank marine, but as I say that, it looks like he has 2 tech labs on these barracks, so either ghosts or marauders, but at this point probably marauders. But actually, as I say that, not even getting those marauders out, so maybe just using those tech labs for those upgrades. And we do have some Banshees doing some harassment up in the top part of this map. Let's go ahead and see how many kills they have. 1, 1, and 3, so definitely not paying for themselves thus far in the game. So we'll have to keep an eye on this Banshees, see if they do any damage. But it looks like StrifeCro is coming forward with a bunch of Zerglings trying to do some damage here, and no bunkers are down from deMusliM, but that doesn't really matter. He was able to clean up those Zerglings quite easily, and it looks like deMusliM is putting down a missile turret, so he probably did scout out that Spire, and it looks like these Banshees are getting a lot of kills here, 3 and 4 respectively on those. 1 did get eliminated, so deMusliM trying to use those Banshees to the best of his ability. Was Cloak never canceled? I wonder if Cloak finished. The starport is no longer on the tech lab, so I have to click on the Banshee to find out, and the Banshees are dead. So much for that. I mean, I was going to say, I mean, if he canceled Cloak, not a huge deal if those Banshees failed their attack, but if he researched Cloak and wasn't able to do a significant amount of damage with those Banshees, definitely not worth it. But as we look at the food count, it is 121 to 108 supply, so StrifeCro definitely ahead in that regard. And let's open up that income tab to see the harvesters, 68 to 63. So relatively even there when you consider the mules. And excuse me, my throat is a little bit, I don't know, I can't really describe it, but You know that feeling after you eat a bowl of Cocoa Puffs? That's what I'm feeling right now, so definitely enjoy those Cocoa Puffs. Anyway, those Mulists are coming forward, are going to kill these 2 Hellions, and all these Marines are stemming forward. Not sure about that decision. StrifeCro, if his goal was to get those Marines to take drugs and take life off of themselves, he achieved his goal indeed, and these Marines are all in the yellow health, and this medevac will have her work cut out for her. Is the medevac or he or she? Okay, it's a she. I'm looking at the portrait. So the medevac will have her work cut out for her in healing all of her friends. And wow, StrifeCro definitely amassing a pretty sizable army here. Does not want to be caught without any units as he was last game. But EGDeMusliM throwing down the money scan, knows exactly what is up, throws it on his opponent's army, so sees exactly what's in that unit composition and will be able to prepare accordingly and decide whether he wants to push here or not. And it looks like he wants to push. He's proceeding forward along this map with a bunch of Marines. Let's look at the units tab. 38 Marines and 7 takes, so definitely looking to do a lot of damage here with this push in the mid game, and these Mulists are going to try to pick off some reinforcements. Always a good idea as a Zerg player to try to pick off as many reinforcements as possible. Looks like we will have an engagement here. EGDeMusliM coming forward with these tanks, sieging them up one at a time, and EGStrifeCro has decided it's time. He's advancing forward with his Zerglings and Banelings, explodes his Banelings into the Marines and tries to run into him, and he does connect with a bunch of Marines, and all of these tanks will be cleaned up by these Roaches, Queens, and Mutos. So StrifeCro dealing with that army quite easily. Some really good micro from him, connecting with all of the appropriate units. So StrifeCro demolishing that push from EGDeMusliM. Has to be feeling good about himself, considering he already has his 4th down, and EGDeMusliM is just now getting his 3rd. So StrifeCro definitely taking the lead after that engagement, and I'm tempted to stop the game here. Yeah, I'm gonna pause it here, guys. Again, I can't make videos longer than 15 minutes. Gosh be darn it. So I think I have to have 100 subscribers or something, but that's never going to happen. Anyway, thanks for watching this game. Be sure to click on the bottom. I put a link there leading to Game 2, so click on that so we can get straight into the action in Game 2. See you there. Thanks for watching. Or not Game 2. Game 3, Part 2, I'm trying to say. There you go. Thanks for watching. Join me there.